Good afternoon, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Covey. Brittany Covey returning to the practice squad. Just what do you see as additions? The potential punt return guy for you guys?
Anybody that's on this roster, they can help us out, whether they're practice squad, whether they're on the active roster. So having a familiar face in Covey, you really don't have to onboard him too much. He knows what to expect, what you expect out of him. But it's my job to have not just the 53 ready, but everybody else on the practice squad, which is great luxury to have as a coach.
How hard was it to watch what he had to go through last year? Because he's competent at the job, but he just couldn't get out there because of the injury. How hard was that for you as a coach?
Yeah, you feel for the player because they spend so much time putting so much effort into perfecting their craft, and obviously in 2023 he had a great year. Then to have last year kind of marred by injury, it does pull at the heartstrings a little bit. But again, it's not just one man; it's everybody else on this team to step up in his role. And last year Cooper Jean did a really good job about it.
Last year when the kickoff, when the touchbacks got moved to the 30, you and a lot of other teams just said screw it and try to get touchbacks anyway. With it being moved to the 35, is that still a consideration based on an opponent by opponent basis?
Yeah, I think opponent by opponent basis, a situation basis, it could dictate what he want to do with the ball. I think overall around the NFL, I think you'll see a lot more returns. Guys keep it in play because there is a statistical difference from the 35 to the 30 on points scored and everything like that. So it's exciting for all of us from a special teams cohort around the league, and exciting for the players out here. Those four core players that get some opportunities to go out there and make some plays.
On that note, how tough is the guy you're going to be facing this week?
I mean, it was tough when we were booting it out the back of the end zone. He could line up 9 deep and still return it on you. So, the dangers that Turpin presents to us are highly noted and highly talked about. But it's exciting also to go out there and get these guys going. It's not just the 10 guys covering, but also Jake and Braden. With their punts and their kickoffs, helping us out and looking to flip the field and help out our defense in trying to corral Cavante. And I have very much all the respect in the world for any NFL player. Then Cavante, he kind of keeps you up at night a little bit with his explosion as a returner.
When you're talking through the decision on whether to go for the touchback or not, how much does the confidence in your own defense and the quality of your own defense factor into that?
Oh, I always say, this is a Vic Fangio-led defense. Shoot, I'm going to have as much confidence as I possibly can. But again, there's so many ebbs and flows throughout the game. Say, you're out with a big lead. Do you want to put, a ball in a dangerous returner's hand, or do we want to keep going and, if we're having a good day? So everything kind of is a situation-based type thing with the kickoff. But again, it's exciting. It's kickoff day for us today, so we're ready to get out there, and we feel good about the game plan we have going forward. So it'll be fun.
Jake was experimenting with some kicks throughout camp. It looked like, how many are in the arsenal for kickoffs, and has that changed because of the change?
He worked at it. I think like everybody else has worked at it. I think it differs on what team and where you're playing at. Obviously when you're in a dome, you have a control on where that ball is going. When you're outside, and particularly in the Northeast, sometimes you got to win that. You can't kick against that win. You have to go with it. So like I said, everything's kind of base by base in terms of kicks, but Jake has enough in his arsenal to keep everyone kind of honest more than anything else, where they can't get a read. So it's kudos to him at working at it throughout the offseason and implementing a little bit in the preseason.
These past 4 years, you've used edge rushers as special teams guys. Those are all veterans this year. Are those guys who can factor into the unit, whether it's Agbo and Aziz?
Yeah, absolutely. Regardless if you're a rookie or a 7-year veteran, we always look for anybody, put the best 11 out there that can help us win a game, help us win in field position. And I always tell these guys, there's no hierarchy in our special teams here. We're going to use all hands on deck to give us the best way possible to win, whether that's going to be, Agbo or Aziz, who've played a lot, or is it going to be, those young cats, Smile, Darius Cooper, things of that nature. So, that's the great thing about special teams. You get to use everyone to a certain extent to help win a game and help this team out.
How has Jake looked from 50 plus? Do you feel like whatever was happening last year has resolved itself?
Yeah, no, I think Jake's had a phenomenal offseason and training camp. You know, it's always nice in that last preseason game. You know, he kind of got pushed back a little, and you know, the 51, I believe 53 yarder against the Jets. You know, he hit him with some confidence, and there was some extra on it. But I think Jake's doing a really good job. One, gelling with the new operation with Charlie coming in, and just the confidence of him going out there and you know, not proving to us. I know who he is. I think proving more to himself that he's still the great kicker that he is.
When
Couple
Smile was
more?
drafted, it seemed like he would be kind of a prototypically really good special teams player. Has that shown itself, and how does he fit in on those units?
Yeah, he definitely fits the profile. But really, what's cool about Smile is his football awareness and his physicality. You could really sense it out on the field right there. That you know he brings an added edge out there to the coverage, to the blocking. So for him to take that jump from Georgia to now, you know he's been one of the more pleasant experienced rookies that I've been able to coach, which is awesome.
What do you think Will adds as a potential kick returner for you?
You know what? Will adds a lot. I mean, he has great feel. He has great vision. You know, in the few that he did have last year, he did a great job of kind of letting the picture form itself, then finding the right cut to make. You know, obviously in that NFC Championship game, he got all the way out to that 40-yard line, and it was just. And again, a lot has to do with the other 10 guys out there in front of him to block. But I think he just has a natural feel and a natural want to put the offense in the best spot possible, and he works at it. It's not like he just catches it and he finds his way. He's up there. He was up there yesterday watching some kickoff return stuff, watching some kickoff coverage stuff. So Will works at being who he is and why it excelled for him as a rookie last year.
Last one?
What has been similar enough or in the same kind of role?
Yeah, prior to the injury, Ben had that edge, that physicality, that beware of dog lore that we have here in the locker room about him. But now he's got a couple years, a little bit more experience. Now he's got some savviness to him, so he brings a lot of different tools, whether it's experience, physicality, and he still has some really good speed from that fullback position. So it's great to have him back off that injury, and hopefully he helps us lead the special teams unit to what we want to be.